editing to Tina. I just wanted to stop in and say that the views and opinions in this video are our own. Please seek a professional. These are just things that we find helpful when we do them. Feel free to do them, but seek a professional.
Amanda and I got introduced to each other through a mutual friend, our friend Antoinette. I remember she was having a women's conference, and I was so excited about it when I heard everything that went into it, and I decided to do her makeup for it. When I say I decided, I knew I was going to do her makeup, I just had to let her know. But she was for it, I did it, we became close and been friends ever since. I thought that was a gunshot because I'm from Southeast. But she just has a brilliant mind. I love people that think different, that are not, I like people that are not shy about what they're going through. They're willing to talk to you about it and open up about it. So you're gonna get to know Amanda a little bit more right now. Okay, everybody, Amanda is here. I told you guys a lot about her. She's here, so we're gonna talk before we eat so that we don't have stuff like all in our teeth and stuff. Welcome to Play the Conversation.
Thank you.
I'm so happy that you're here.
I'm excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Thank you for making the time. Let's talk a little bit. So what's been going on with you? What's new? The last time we caught up, I knew that you were still doing the ministry at the prison. You were also doing some college classes.
Yes.
She's also a mom, y'all. A mom of 5.
6.
Just kidding. 6. Like, I be struggling with my 2. I don't be struggling with my 2, but a mom of 6, that's major. And she still looks this good all the time. 24/7.
Girl, I'll be struggling too though. just to put it out there.
Yeah. How has it been with you during this time?
You know, we have our ups and downs. I think just like everyone else, we're just trying to find a rhythm and find patterns that work for us. So yeah, I think I'm just trying to stay in a place where I'm just accepting what I can't control, because trying to fight against what's going on just really doesn't end up helping us at all.
It can be a lot.
It is. It's a lot. I think it's a lot on everybody. But I think the more that we can accept what's going on and just try to move forward with positivity, I think that works better, not just for me and my mental health, but also for just the atmosphere of my home and keeping me at a place of peace.
Okay, let's talk about the work with the ladies at the prison. I know about it because you told me about it, but tell my audience about it. Like, how did you get started in it? What is it actually?
Yeah, so that's a good question. I teach incarcerated women, and I partner alongside the chaplains at the facility that I teach at. And I teach women all over the facility, whether they be trustees and are about to re-enter society, or they are ladies with more extended sentencing, and they're in administrative segregation. I also teach ladies in the psych ward as well as in hospitals. So, and then I also go into the cell blocks and I teach the ladies there. All the ladies that I teach them because they want to be taught. I don't go and force it on anyone. Yeah, everyone that I teach alongside the chaplains, they are all there voluntarily. And I teach the Bible inductively. There's a Bible study that I've written. It's called Under the Influence of Grace. And so we work through the implications of God's grace in our lives and how that brings just transformation to every area of our lives, whether that be to something like anxiety or to proving yourself or to trauma and past experiences. And we just really work through how grace shapes the fundamental way that we think and we live in our day-to-day lives.
So would you say first of all, that's amazing work because not everyone can do that. You know what I'm saying? And not everyone can do it and have women that keep coming back and wanting it. You know what I'm saying? So I know that has to be a really big deal for you. Would you say that has a lot to do with you wanting to do psychology now?
Yeah, that has everything to do with it. So as I've gone there and as I've taught, because you know, a lot of people have a lot of questions about God, and oftentimes they're met with this existential crisis where it's, God, get me out of this, or God, meet me here, help me, God, sustain me in this moment. So there's often a lot of questions about God, but as I went to teach them to meet those spiritual needs, I came to see there were a lot of other needs that needed to be met as well. So needs involving trauma, needs involving mental health and emotional well-being. And the more that I taught there, the more that I began to see how big of a role psychology plays just in our day-to-day lives.
Aside from probably the personal relationships you have, Is there anything you miss about not being able to go and do that work right now?
I miss teaching. I think anytime that we find ourselves in a work that we're truly passionate about, not being able to practice that leaves a bit of an ache within our souls. So I just miss being able to be with them, to listen to them, to hear their stories and what they've been going through.
That is. I was telling you guys earlier that Amanda and I met because she was putting on a women's conference, and when she says that she's passionate and she loves teaching, her sermons are not to be messed with. Like, they're so good. I think I still have a few on voice memo from the conference. That was a really, really good conference. And then it was just women there that were different.
Yes.
But all had the same love and the same, like, it was just such a beautiful conference. What got you into wanting to put on conferences, and with it being COVID, when do you think you'll be able to put on your next one? Or do you want to?
So backing it up to answer your first question with what initiated me to start the women's conference, I think it was just being in church and meeting with women in Bible study and seeing them go to church week after week and still struggle with anxiety, still feeling like they needed to prove themselves day in and day out, still feeling insufficient in many areas, feeling pressures of overcompensation in their careers and their families as wives and mothers. And I just began to really question, why is it that we're going to these environments, we're going to church every single week, but we're still struggling with these internal battles? And I just felt like there needs to be some type of bridge that we're able to address to bring healing and transformation. And so it just was really birthed out of that, of wanting to serve the ladies in this space and really address these topics specifically, because proving yourself is not always a sermon that is going to come up in a Bible study or necessarily topics that come up often in the church. And so
mental health isn't something that comes up often in the church. I feel like going forward it might be, but I know growing up in church and being there all the time, it was never, people would say, how do you feel? And then you would give the blessed and highly favored. You would give that response, but like, people would be going through turmoil. You would be going through it, and no one would really talk about that point of it. So it's good that you noticed that and decided to do the conference, because I'm sure there's a lot of women who feel like your kids have to look like this and be this smart and be in this many sports and be doing all of this in order for them to feel adequate as a mother when they're not even taking care of themselves. You know what I'm saying? So did you find a lot of that?
Yeah, we did, and it was from that we really wanted to meet those needs and really lean into those specific topics to help to bring freedom to their lives. Yeah. So that was a lot of what inspired us moving in and doing the.
It was so good.
Doing the conference.
It was so good.
It was good for me too.
Yeah.
It was good to study the content. It was good to dig deeper into those topics. It was good to be able to present those topics to the ladies and to just see how they interacted with it as well. We did a different study at that time, and we gave that study away for free because we didn't want to just, we're going to get up on a stage and teach you something. We really wanted to hand content over, so that they could work through it and grow from it as well.
Nice. Do you think you'll have another one?
I don't think so.
No, why do you say that?
So we did 3 conferences. We did it 3 years in a row, and it was amazing. It was absolutely amazing to see the content come alive in hearts and to really be giving fundamental principles that would help to bring freedom to women. But the more that I started doing prison work,
you switch, you want to pivot. But you're still helping people, and you're still not only helping people, but women.
Absolutely.
And I always believe when you help women, you help the world.
I believe that.
We just nurture and we do so much. So it's not that you're not doing it again, you're just doing it in a different way.
Absolutely.
That's nice. That's nice. So what kind of advice would you give to any woman right now dealing with something that they feel may be so difficult that they can't see a way out of it? They don't feel that there's anyone there to understand them or listen. Like, what kind of advice would you give? Because we've all been there. I know for me, before you answer the question, when I used to go through stuff, I used to just be like, oh my God, no one understands. Or I would go to my phone and try to call people, but you feel no one understands. I've learned how to self-soothe. Like, I know there's different steps. Maybe I need to go on a hike. Maybe I need to have the kids go to my dad's house so I can take a long shower. Like just different ways. But it's not that easy for people if they haven't worked through certain things. So what would you say to someone who doesn't know, like what they should do, how they should do it to get out of it?
Yeah, that's really good, especially for everything that's going on right now.
Yeah.
I would say like the first thing is admitting that something's going on.
Oh, that's so good. Amanda, I did not think that you were going to say that. I think that so many times, just women, mother, whoever, you know that you're feeling stuff, but you'll just keep being happy, you're trying to fake it.
Yeah.
So admitting there's something going on. That's good.
I think just naming it too. Like, am I struggling with anxiety? Am I struggling with overwhelm? Am I struggling with feeling like this is too much? Like, I just think being able to actually name it.
To name it, that's so good. That's like a reminder for me, because sometimes you can be going through something and either you'll brush it aside or keep moving, but it's okay to feel how you're feeling. I always say it's okay to feel it, but just don't stay there.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes. I think self-acceptance is a really huge part of our growth and our development. Like, I think all of us have this place that we want to be, but acknowledging where we are in this moment, I think, is really, really key to being able to move forward.
Yeah.
And then I think after acknowledging where we are and just accepting, like, this is where I are and this is where I am, and there's no shame in where I am, I think that's a big thing too. It's feeling like I'm not supposed to be here, or feeling like I should be where someone else is because everybody else seems like they're okay, or everybody else.
We're on social media all day.
Yeah.
So you can see somebody doing something, and then that can make your sadness even more sad.
Absolutely.
Or you'd be even more depressed because you're trying to. So name it. What would you say the second thing that they could do?
So reaching out, I think, is always an important thing.
Okay.
Not just with friends, not just with a pastor or a trusted source, but I also would say looking into seeking somebody who is a professional in the mental health industry, seeking to talk with a counselor, I think, is always going to yield incredible benefits. I advocate for therapy for everybody, and just to remove the stigma. Like, it needs to be destigmatized, but
it does.
And I just feel like we need to not feel that someone has had to gone through this deep traumatic experience for it to be justifiable to go into therapy.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
I think especially just with Black people, we always think that we just need Jesus. We don't understand how God created therapists.
Yeah.
And we need that. You know what I'm
Absolutely.
saying? So I think that reaching out to a therapist is good because it's someone you don't know. They're not judging you. You don't have to worry about if they're going to go tell another person. So I think that's a great bit of advice too.
Yeah.
What would be your final piece of advice you would give someone? So name it, figure out what it is, look into reaching out to someone, whether it be a friend, family, loved one, or a therapist. And what would you say would be the third thing?
Community care. What you just said. I think really being vulnerable. And I just want to emphasize vulnerability is not about strength or weakness. I think that this whole idea of I can't let anyone see me weak has been superimposed on our psyche since we were children. And I think
don't cry, don't feel that.
Right.
Don't, yeah.
Right. Stuff it down. Strong face. And I think even just in being Black, I am a strong Black woman. Like, I can't let anybody see that I have needs or that I'm struggling right now. And I think really laying down that ideology and picking up the ideology of community care and leaning into those around you in your community. Having fun is a big thing. Going out in nature, like you said. Exercising. All of those things are going to be to the benefit of our mental health and our emotional well-being.
I agree. What's one thing you do when you find yourself forever? What do you do when you find, because you probably have it coming at different angles. You have 6 children, you have a husband, you have Amanda.
Yeah.
How do you, when you start to feel yourself feeling overwhelmed, what's your go-to thing?
That's, goodness. Give it to me, Tina, give it to me. So I think just on the front end, it is acknowledging what I'm feeling in that moment and being willing to pause.
Okay.
Instead of feeling like I have to push through this feeling or I can't address this feeling, but being willing to pause. So much of what you said, taking time to breathe, I think is a huge thing. I also exercise, I bike, I do cycling.
I know, I've been seeing you. I'm like,
Yeah.
we need to link up and do some cycling, because that seems so, I just love being out in nature.
Yes, there's nothing like the sun on your skin.
Right now, it's amazing.
So that's a huge thing. I also really try to address my perspectives. There's a quote that's been really helping me a lot in this season.
What is it?
It says, "We are not distressed by what we go through, but by what we tell ourselves about what we're going through." So a lot of it goes back to the narratives that we're telling ourselves. So even in the moment of being overwhelmed, oftentimes it's my perspective of what's happening in that time that's making that anxiety rise within me.
And feel more.
Yeah, so a lot of what I've been trying to do and just practice lately is addressing my own narratives and what I'm telling myself about what's happening around me. Because sometimes it's not just I'm overwhelmed. Like the thoughts can go to a lot of other directions where it's not just I feel a lot of pressure in this moment, but why do I have these kids, or why do these kids act like this, or
Why
is
am I not a good mom? Why can I not control them? Why? Yeah, all of those thoughts.
Right. Yeah, so I think just addressing like those inner narratives and what we're telling ourselves, and really just trying to like flip the narrative, because thoughts are always coming into our minds. They're always coming into our minds. So I don't necessarily think that we need to ignore those thoughts, but I do think that we can interrogate those thoughts.
Absolutely.
I think we can question those thoughts and like really go like, why am I telling myself that? I could tell myself something different instead. So I think
very true.
Yeah, just going back to the narrative of what's going on
and figuring out what it is. I always tell people that I'm like, our thoughts are, I read it somewhere on a podcast, one of the two, but they were saying that your mind is like a conveyor belt, and it's always going to be thoughts coming down. It doesn't mean that you're thinking those thoughts, they're bad thoughts, good thoughts, but you can pick off which ones you want, and you can let the other ones go.
Right.
And I think so many times we identify with the sad thought, a bad thought, a thought telling us that we're not good enough, and it can be a million happy thoughts, and we'll just keep letting those go, but we pick up the other ones, and it's time to replace that. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. We're gonna get to the food part now.
Oh yeah.
Thank you for all of those tips. I really hope that, you know, if someone is watching and going through anything, you guys implement those little things, because none of us have it together. Those are things that I know that I'm going to be using. Some of them, they're things that I use now, but I knew that I needed them in order to be a better person. Forget a better mom, because I think that so many times you want the mom award, but you can't be a good mom if you're not taking care of yourself. You know, so those are just really good things. If you have kids or don't have kids, if you're by yourself, look at what you're thinking, get out in nature, feel the sun, be vulnerable. Try to find a therapist if you can. Try to find friends and community that really care about you. We're gonna get into the food now.
Oh, so good. I know it's gonna taste good because it's already smelling so delicious.
You smell it, so good. Go ahead, get your other bread. I'll get mine. Do you want avocado on yours?
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, you can slice that one open.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so I just told Amanda that it is chickpea tuna. So we're gonna try it, and she's gonna tell you guys what she thinks. She was already putting it on her sandwich and was like, "This smells so good."
It smells delicious. I can't wait to bite into
So
it.
on it we have some romaine lettuce and cherry tomatoes and avocado, and it might get messy, so you have your napkin.
That's right.
Okay.
Yes. Oh my goodness, this is so good, Tina.
You like it?
I do. It's got a lot of flavor. It leaves a really nice aftertaste on your palate. What made you decide to go to a plant-based lifestyle?
Definitely wanting to live a long time and be healthy. I don't want to live till I'm 97 and then can't do nothing. I want to be able to still go on hikes with the kids and still move around and still do stuff. Also working in surgery and seeing so many people have to have surgery and be sick when they can change their eating habits or exercise a little more.
Got it.
So, and I feel like for me, it makes me more adventurous with cooking. You try more different ways and more different things, and then when people come over and try it and they love it, it makes me excited.
Yes.
I'm happy that you like it.
It's good, yeah. I think that more of us need to venture into plant-based recipes. I mean, we're already cooking food. Like, we're already cooking, so it's not like it's that big of a adjustment. I think just as moms, we need something easy that we can make.
Go-to stuff, really easy.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you, Amanda, for coming and sharing your perspective and trying the food and giving so many tips. I really, really hope that you guys enjoyed this episode. I know it's totally different from anything we've done, from us being outside to our conversation. But I have a lot of dope friends and people in my life, so we have a lot of good stuff to talk about. I hope you guys make this tuna. If you make it, let me know.
It's so good.
So good, and it's so easy. It's so easy. Thank you to my camera woman, Layla. You did a great job. All right, you guys, peace.